Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 168, 2 Hits and a Miss. The episode begins with Ash and the gang walking down a twisted path through a forest when they suddenly hear a whole bunch of stomping and rampaging. They immediately spot the source of this noise being a trainer and his Tauros. The trainer was trying desperately to run after his Tauros, probably to make sure it didn't fucking kill anyone. Unfortunately, the Tauros almost fucking killed Ash as it ran over him, not stopping in its tracks, even due to its trainer's pleas. Ash is thankfully somehow instantly able to recover, but he then spots the Tauros continuing its rampage, now heading towards an old man walking ahead of them on the path, and knowing that the old man probably wouldn't be as lucky to survive a rampage, Ash rushes in to save him. The old man somehow didn't hear the Tauros approaching, despite his loud footsteps, so it takes him turning around to notice the Tauros, and he tries to send out a Pokeball of his own, but before he can do so, Ash jumps in, sending out his Bulbasaur. Ash tells Bulbasaur to use Vine Whip, and it does, wrapping its vines around Tauros' horns, and using the vines to jump over Tauros. This jump pulls the Tauros back, preventing it from charging forward anymore, so this angers the Tauros, and it manages to break off the vines because of its anger and charge forth towards Bulbasaur, using a takedown, but Bulbasaur manages to dodge. Tauros simply tries yet another takedown, but Bulbasaur just dodges for the second time and then uses a Vine Whip to catch it by the legs to stop it from moving. With Tauros immobilized, Ash then has Bulbasaur use Sleep Powder to put Tauros to sleep, knocking it out. With Tauros stopped, this allows its trainer to finally catch up, along with Brock and Misty for that matter, as he thanks Ash for assisting him with stopping the Tauros and recalls it and runs off. As for the old man that Ash had saved, he revealed his name was Kenzo, and congratulates Ash on training his Bulbasaur extremely well due to seeing how strong it was, as the old man had been observing the entire battle. He then explains that he owned a fighting dojo, and declares that since Ash was so strong, he could use him for a task at the dojo, which was apparently very urgent. And Ash accepts, as him and the gang follow Kenzo to this fighting dojo. It didn't take too long to eventually arrive at the dojo, where the man explained that he was the sole owner. Anyways, immediately after Ash and the gang's arrival, they immediately hear voices coming from inside the dojo and question the old man, Kenzo, on where the fuck those voices were coming from, as they seemed pretty intense. Kenzo clarifies that the one speaking and practically shouting was his granddaughter instructing some students on her stupid way of training, dancing. Despite Kenzo inferring that the dancing was stupid and it didn't really matter that much, Ash was eager to see it, so he ran into the building with Brock, Misty, and Kenzo following, and immediately saw Kenzo's granddaughter teaching the students how to make their fighting Pokemon more graceful while dancing. Honestly, that training didn't seem so stupid to me. I mean, if you're able to make fighting Pokemon more graceful, then you could probably give them some new strategies, right? Because they wouldn't just be focused on fighting all the time. But anyways, Ash then spots Kenzo's granddaughter's Pokemon that she was using to demonstrate fighting Pokemon dancing, which Ash used his Pokedex on and found out that it was a Hitmontop. The secret third evolution of Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan. Essentially, there was a Tyrogue, and then it would either evolve into Hitmonlee, Hitmontop, or Hitmonchan. Shortly after Ash observes the Hitmontop dance on its head, spinning around, the lesson comes to an end as Kenzo's granddaughter dismisses the students, and the students walk out of the dojo, bowing to Kenzo in the process. Ash and the gang question why they had just bowed to Kenzo, assuming that just because he was the owner didn't mean that he really had any significance, but Kenzo clarifies that he was also the Shihan of the dojo. Ash was confused by this, as he remembered having Shihan at a Chinese restaurant before. Wait, so China exists in the Pokemon world? Okay, anyways, he was confused, so essentially thinking that this old man was a food. Brock and Misty, along with Kenzo for that matter, are baffled by Ash's ignorance and fall to the ground in disbelief, as Brock explains that a Shihan was actually the leader of a fighting dojo. So not only was Kenzo the owner, he was like the master teacher. Ash is truly embarrassed with himself, as he truly thought that Shihan was chicken covered in garlic sauce. Just then, with Kenzo's granddaughter now not being distracted by teaching a class, she spots Ash and the gang by her grandfather and questions who they were. Kenzo introduces her to Ash, explaining that he was here to help with an urgent task, being accepting his title as the new Shihan of the dojo. That's right, but Kenzo had wanted Ash to come and become the new Grandmaster of this dojo, just because he saw that his Bulbasaur was so strong. Ash and the gang were shocked, both at the fact that Kenzo was seemingly retiring, and at the fact that he had wanted Ash to fucking just take over after just meeting him. Kenzo's granddaughter was shocked as well, but she was shocked for a bit of a different reason. Her grandfather had previously told her that she would be the next Shihan of the dojo, essentially taking over due to being the next in the bloodline. When she reminds Kenzo of this, she only gets more angry, as Kenzo simply laughs in her face, stating that he had changed his mind long ago about letting her be the new Shihan after seeing her stupid training strategy of dancing, stating that dancing was way too unserious for the fighting dojo and that she should stick to dance competitions instead, and might as well teach ballet as opposed to fighting. Damn, that's fucking savage. Kenzo and his granddaughter continued to argue, leaving Ash to get annoyed and try and break it up, attempting to explain that he didn't even want to be the dojo master anyways, and that he would gladly just let Kenzo's granddaughter take over the role if she wanted to. But Kenzo's granddaughter wasn't satisfied with this. She wanted to prove that she was stronger than Ash and was more worthy of being the dojo master, so she challenged him to a battle. Ash once again tries to convince her that this was unnecessary due to him not wanting to be the master. Kenzo's granddaughter still was determined to battle though, urging Ash to send out one of his fighting Pokemon so they could have a one-on-one match to see whose fighting Pokemon was stronger, also revealing that her name was Chigusa in the process. Ash tried to explain that he really couldn't battle her, especially with a fighting Pokemon, as he didn't even have one. This, however, just makes Chigusa even more angry at the fact that her grandfather would choose someone to lead the fighting dojo who didn't even have a fighting Pokemon over her, now screaming at both Ash and her grandfather. This leads Kenzo to butt in, explaining that even though Ash didn't have a fighting Pokemon, he had his Bulbasaur, which he was very impressed by, stating that his Bulbasaur was very much like a fighting Pokemon due to its strength, and was even more of a fighting Pokemon than Chigusa's Hitmontop, stating that all it did was dance. This just pissed Chigusa off even more at the fact that her grandfather had the gall to insult her fighting Pokemon's abilities and make fun of her dancing yet again, demanding that Ash accept her challenge. And Kenzo wanted Ash to accept as well, so that Ash could put his granddaughter in her place, explaining that he should use Bulbasaur. However, Ash still refused due to just simply not wanting to be the master. Just then, though, a dude named Shiro approached, challenging Kenzo himself to a battle. Damn, now we had 2 potential battles on the way? Holy shit. Anyways, Chigusa instantly recognizes the name Shiro, recognizing him as the Dojo Destroyer, his famous nickname. He was known as the Dojo Destroyer, essentially because he was a fighting Pokemon trainer who traveled from dojo to dojo, beating all of their leaders and taking plaques from their dojos as proof that he was stronger than them. He had already beaten 11 dojos by this point, taking all of their plaques, stating that the reason why he wanted to do this was because he wanted to open up his own dojo, and he figured that if he beat all the other dojos, then he could easily take all their students, having earned their respect, and essentially make his dojo like the premier dojo. Despite Kenzo being more than ready to retire, he was more than happy to accept Shiro's challenge, wanting to protect his dojo's integrity and stop Shiro's goddamn overconfidence and his winning streak. Meanwhile, Team Rocket was spying from the dojo rooftop, and they had saw Chigusa's Hitmontop and immediately wanted to steal it due to recognizing it as being a rare evolution relating to Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. The battle between Kenzo and Shiro then began as they went to the dojo stadium, and Kenzo sent out his good old partner Machoke, and Shiro sent out his Hitmonlee, which Ash used his Pokedex on. However, before the battle could really even begin, Kenzo and Machoke both keeled over to the ground, being too old and experiencing back problems before they could attack. I think this proved why Kenzo wanted to retire. He was just done by this point. Not wanting to see the dojo be beaten, and wanting a chance to prove herself to her grandfather, Chigusa offers to take her grandfather's place in the battle. Kenzo initially refused, still believing his granddaughter to be weak and only focused on dancing, but when he realized that he really had no other option, as it's not like Ash was willing to battle, he decided to let her take his place so that the dojo's plaque wouldn't be taken. The battle then begins with Brock being the referee, as Hitmonlee starts off by using Rolling Kick, but Hitmontop is able to block and does a Rolling Kick of its own. Hitmonlee is also able to block in continuous form as well, as Hitmontop tries again and again and again to get off a Rolling Kick, but it's denied every single time. Seeing how the strategy wasn't working, Chigusa orders Hitmontop to use its dancing abilities to do a rapid spin, and then pivot into a triple kick. Hitmontop tries to do this 3 times, but Hitmonlee stops it in its track every single time, and dodges the rapid spin each time while doing so. Hitmonlee then uses a double kick to knock Hitmontop out of rapid spin formation, sending it to the ground, allowing Hitmonlee to finish it off with a jump kick and high jump kick. Hitmontop truly had no strength left at this point, allowing Shiro to go in for the final blow. However, just as he did, smoke appeared, being caused by none other than James's wheezing. It was Team Rocket. They had come to steal Hitmontop, and the Hitmonlee in the process. With everyone else blinded by wheezing smoke, they were able to successfully do this, trapping both Hitmonlee and Hitmontop in a net and attaching it to their Meowth balloon as they began to make their escape, still doing their motto as they escaped, because, they couldn't miss the chance to do their motto, especially since they were doing it in ninja outfits this time, to fit with the theme of the dojo. Thankfully, just as Team Rocket are about to fully make their exit, the smoke clears, allowing Ash to see again, as he sends out his Bulbasaur and commands him to use Razor Leaf, which hits the net and frees Hitmonlee and Hitmontop. Damn, that was quick. In order to still escape, Jessie and James knew that they had to send out their Pokemon, so Jessie sends out her Arbok and has it use Poison Sting, while James sends out his Victory Bell, although unfortunately, Victory Bell eats him as usual, so Arbok is forced to attack on its own, and the Poison Sting doesn't even hit, as Hitmonlee is able to dodge it. And Hitmontop wasn't even in threat of being hit by the attack, so it simply just stood by. Shiro was immensely angered by Team Rocket attempting to hurt his Pokemon, so he ordered his Hitmonlee to attack with High Jump Kick. However, before it could get it off, James finally got his Victory Bell to stop eating him and used Sleep Powder, which put Hitmonlee straight to sleep. With Hitmonlee now taken care of, Victory Bell sent its sights on attacking Hitmontop, but Pikachu saved Hitmontop by ramming into Victory Bell, knocking it back into Team Rocket's balloon. Bulbasaur then dealt with Arbok by grabbing it with Vine Whip and also throwing it into the balloon. This severely weakened the balloon at this point, so all it took was one Razor Leaf from Bulbasaur, and the balloon had popped, sending Team Rocket blasting off. With Team Rocket having been blasted off, Chigusa was eager to get back to the battle, but Shiro argued that they should instead battle tomorrow, as now, both his Hitmonlee and Chigusa's Hitmontop were severely weakened. Chigusa, even though she thought that Shiro was just being a bit of a coward, and he honestly kind of was, agreed, as she saw that her Hitmontop wasn't in the best state. Later that night, inside the dojo, Chigusa was eagerly awaiting the battle, extremely confident that she could win. Kenzo bitterly reminds her, though, that she had no reason to be confident, as she almost lost the battle today. Chigusa was obviously fed up, with her grandfather never seeming to take her side, but Kenzo didn't care, and insisted that she needed a whole bunch of training, and even insisted that Ash should be the one to train her with his Bulbasaur, stating once again how Bulbasaur was more of a fighting Pokemon than Chigusa's Hitmontop, and how Hitmontop could afford to learn a few of Bulbasaur's techniques. Ash was reluctant to agree to train Chigusa, knowing that she probably wouldn't get along with him very well, but he eventually decided to, after being reminded by Kenzo that his dojo's reputation was at stake. Kenzo then clarifies that he wanted the training to be an actual practice battle so that him on top could get some genuine battle experience. This prompted Chigusa to happily agree to be trained by Ash, as that would mean that she finally got the chance to battle him and potentially prove herself that she was better than him. Ash and Chigusa then go to the battle stadium, and the battle between Bulbasaur and Hitmontop begins. Ash ordered Bulbasaur to begin spinning his vines like how Hitmontop spun on its head during Rapid Spin to try and mimic the movements. Chigusa commented on how that was actually a cool-ass fucking strategy, but she didn't want to be outshined by it, so she told Hitmontop to stop Bulbasaur from spinning by kicking it. However, Bulbasaur was able to dodge all of Hitmontop's kicks due to its fast spinning, leading Chigusa to instead order Hitmontop to use a rapid spin of its own and try and get off a few triple kicks, but Bulbasaur is able to dodge every attack yet again and uses its Vine Whip to try and tie Hitmontop's legs together so that it would lose its balance while it was spinning. Hitmontop is able to dodge Bulbasaur's first Vine Whip, but when he tries the second one, Hitmontop gets its legs wrapped up, both its legs and its head for that matter, so it couldn't spin at all, and this allows Bulbasaur to finish Hitmontop off with a tackle, since it couldn't defend itself. Kenzo officially declares that Ash had won the battle, leading to Chigusa to eagerly question Ash on how he was able to win, so that she could try and adopt that strategy to beat Shiro. However, Ash rebutted that he merely battled with instinct and barely even knew what he did himself. Of course, Ash, of course. Thankfully, Kenzo knew the reason why Ash was able to win, stating it was because him and his Bulbasaur worked as a team. And because of that, Bulbasaur was able to dodge all the attacks immediately when Ash told him to, and also implement outside-of-the-box attacks. Kenzo then adds, though, that it wasn't just because of Ash's skill that he won, it was because of his granddaughter's dancing. This initially pisses Chigusa off, obviously, as she thought that it was just another attempt by her grandfather to insult her dancing. But Kenzo countered that since Chigusa was so focused on having her Hitmontop use Rapid Spin all the time because it was a dancing move, she failed to realize how Rapid Spin left it susceptible to a whole bunch of attacks because it couldn't defend itself while it was spinning. Chigusa finally realizes this now, admitting that there was flaws in her constant dancing battle style, and apologizing to Hitmontop for caring more about how it was always having to do Rapid Spin instead of actually ordering it to do useful attacks. Hitmontop accepts Chigusa's apology, trying to explain to her the best that it could that it really just wanted to get stronger no matter what, and Chigusa shared this sentiment, and they proceeded to train with Ash and Bulbasaur all night long in preparation for their battle with Shiro, with Chigusa now fully focused on battling as opposed to dancing, declaring that she would become strong enough to eventually become the dojo master. The next day then arrived, and the battle between Shiro and Chigusa began once again, with Hitmonlee making the first attack using a rolling kick. It tries rolling kick several times, but Hitmontop is able to dodge every single one by actually using Rapid Spin to its advantage to spin around. And then Hitmonlee decides to go for double kick instead, to knock Hitmontop out of Rapid Spin formation, but Hitmontop manages to block it. Shiro then changes up his strategy yet again, telling Hitmonlee to use high jump kick, but Chigusa tells Hitmontop to go into an upright Rapid Spin, using triple kick while doing so. Since Hitmontop began to spin upright, this caused it to go flying into the air, allowing it to dodge the high jump kick. Hitmontop then tries to hit Hitmonlee with its triple kick, but it misses twice, landing back down onto the ground both times. However, it was able to launch itself back up, and eventually it managed to hit Hitmontop with a triple kick, knocking it out, and Brock officially declares Chigusa the winner. Yay! As Chigusa hugs her Hitmontop in happiness, Shiro admits defeat, and actually bows to Kenzo, showing that he respected him for the strength of his dojo. Wow, Shiro actually turned out not to be too bad. For someone known as the Dojo Destroyer, I kind of expected him to, do damage to the dojo if he lost or something, but no, he just accepted defeat. Man, this would be a happy note to end the episode on, huh? Well, the episode wasn't over yet, as Team Rocket then appeared again to steal Hitmontop, this time using a giant Meowth boxing mech, once again to fit with the theme of the fighting dojo. The mech instantly grabs Hitmontop with one of its gloves, but Bulbasaur then uses Razor Leaf to cut the hand off of the mech, freeing Hitmontop. This leads Team Rocket to launch the mech's other hand at Bulbasaur to stop him in his tracks, but then Hitmontop saves Bulbasaur this time, using a Rapid Spin to send the glove flying away into the mech, severely damaging it. With the mech damaged and no longer having its gloves to do anything, Pikachu then stepped in and used Thunderbolt on it, destroying the mech and sending Team Rocket blasting off. Damn, that was quick. With Team Rocket now gone, Shiro took his leave, and Ash and the gang were about to take their leave as well. Chigusa felt bad for how she treated Ash in the beginning, and apologized, leading Ash to claim that it was totally fine, because he got to have a cool-ass battle with his Bulbasaur, and Bulbasaur essentially got to use a Rapid Spin of its own, so that was payment enough for him. Chigusa then also apologizes to Kenzo for doubting what he had said, and explaining that he was right about how she was only focusing on dancing, and she should have been focusing more on fighting techniques, and asked Kenzo to teach her some. Kenzo rebutted that he wanted to retire, though, which was why he was looking for a new Shihan in the first place. This leads Chigusa to remind him that she still wanted to be the Shihan, and she would need training if she was going to take over, and Kenzo realized this, and agreed to train her and let her become a Shihan, since she had now recognized her mistakes. Yay, happy ending. The episode then ends as Ash and the gang continue on their journey, saying goodbye to Chigusa and Kenzo, congratulating Chigusa on eventually being able to become the Shihan, stating that they knew she could do it, as they make their way off to Ecruteak City, giving Kenzo and Chigusa one final bow of respect. Yay!